As you mentioned, India, the media of India is going haywire since that security pact has gone,
Yes.
and a lot of absurd news being given on channels, and they are not happy. They're simply not happy. Also, because they've been broadcasting that they had won the battle, and here Pakistan is like
No, no.
Pakistan is getting more because of Pakistan's performance during India's battle. The pact between Saudi Arab
No.
and Pakistan has a lot to do because of what happened between India and Pakistan.
Well, you are right about the idea that the reports coming out of New Delhi or India writ large are like just they exaggerate beyond belief, and that makes you just shake your head about how can they really sit in front of a camera and state lies, disclose lies that have nothing to do with the reality, because the facts on the ground suggest otherwise. India was defeated by Pakistan in those 4 days. The destruction of the six fighter jets. Now I know India saying they were none, they were only four, whatever. There were six, to my knowledge, and I have trusted sources that they are aware of those kind of things. So for India to be, misleading its population, but again, it's their country; they can decide whatever. Now you have this pact, this defense pact between Pakistan and Saudi Arabia, cemented the notion for me that the Saudis trust Pakistan more so than they do India. Because India always been, it's known. We used to deal with them. We used to deal with their intelligence service. They'll tell you one thing and do the opposite. They're wishy-washy. You know what I mean? That's just how they operate. And this is why when you hear their prime minister Modi saying, "Oh, we're gonna become the hub of the world when it comes down to chip production," I'm left to just shaking my head. You don't even have the infrastructure that will support that kind of endeavor. So you embark on something that is beyond, it's unrealistic. And this is why I got a word that now there are voices inside India. They're really saying it's time for Mr. Modi to leave office, bring in someone else. But again, the system is very, very corrupted inside.
Uh, pr-
Suffice it to say, just to go back to
yeah,
the
yeah,
to,
yeah.
to the Saudi India the Saudi Pakistan rather, this pact will impact India in a bad way. That's the way I look at it.
So, what will happen now if, for example, there comes an escalation between India and Pakistan for whatever reason?
Mm-hmm.
What do you see
Mm-hmm.
happening now if India tries to like do something misadventure like they did before? How
Okay.
is Saudi
Mm-hmm.
Arab gonna react to this? Are they gonna talk to them? Do we see them flying jets with the Pakistanis? Do we see them doing something with their funds going to India? What do you see? What strings would Saudi Arabia be pulling?
Well, first of all, it will be a suicide on part of India if it does embark on such a misadventure. That will be suicide. It's because Pakistan holds the upper hand now, especially with the Chinese weapon at its disposal. As I said, there's a conversation. They're gonna move forward. I won't be surprised. They're gonna move forward with the purchase of the J-10 fighter jets. Those are multi-role fighter jets. India stands no chance against that. Remember, it was the Chinese missiles that Pakistan acquired that took down those
PL-15.
those fighter
I
jets.
think you're talking
So
about
in
the
this case,
J-35s. You're talking about the J-35s. J-10 Cs.
no, no, no,
No,
no,
no,
no,
no.
no. The
Okay.
J10,
Cs. Okay.
the
Okay.
J10, the JC10, the J35
Yeah.
or 36, that is. Those are in conversation
Yeah.
also.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
talking
Okay.
about the
Okay. Okay.
J10.
Okay. Yeah.
Those are the ones I'm talking
They
about.
were
So for
used
now,
in
so
the previous
so
skirmish.
that
J-10Cs.
is
Yeah.
correct.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Okay.
it tells you right there
Yeah.
that it makes more sense. And this is one of the reasons also why we might have in Washington, again, there are certain voices who are looking at this deal between the defense pact between Saudi Arabia and Pakistan is because we wanted to pull Pakistan away from China by letting them go this way. That's just one idea that is out there. So to go back to your question regarding what India is going to do, well, Saudi is going to have to come to the support of Pakistan because they signed the pact now. There's a defense pact. That's the obligation. So what the Saudis going to do? Saudis have a lot of American weapons, which most likely they will deploy to Pakistan. So that is, remember, the Pakistani also are trained on certain types of American
Yeah,
weapons.
yeah.
And the Saudis will only deploy to Pakistan the types of weapons that the Pakistanis are trained on. I was aware of Pakistani units when they used to come here to the US for training and so forth. And it's the same weapon that they were trained on, is the same weapon that we sold the Saudis. So, but the Pakistanis also have some American weapons they can use. Second thing, the Saudis have enough money to fund the conflict. India is not in a good position to do so. So no matter how you look at it, the Pakistanis will have an advantage to that. So, and the third element is when you start having missiles, Pakistani missiles hitting deep inside India, I don't think so. The Indian people is going to now be in support of Modi. I don't buy that because they're already getting to the point where they're starting to see nothing has been moving forward for the last 14 years since Modi came to power, not 12, 13, since he came to power in 2014. So this is the way I see it playing out. No matter how you look at it, India is holding the end of the stick, and it's not going well for them.
You said that for them escalating once again like they did, it's gonna be complete suicide. Are you saying that this pack is goes a long way in acting as a deterrence more than anything else?
Not necessarily, because Pakistan has enough means to defend itself. Remember, Pakistan is a nuclear power. So if their security, if they are gonna go down, I would not be surprised that they will use the nukes. As a matter of fact, Asim Munir mentioned that. And for me, it was surprising, but also not surprising at the same time. Because for him to state something like this, it tells me the conviction that exists within the establishment. And remember, Asim Munir is no small matter in the political scene in Pakistan. He's a very powerful man. So for him to state that we will take half the world with us down, that tells me the story right there. So that's why I'm saying it will be a suicide for India to even entertain attacking Pakistan or getting into some scrimmages or some crazy ideas. And this is again why India is realizing it's losing on all fronts. It's because they've been playing these double standards when it comes down to foreign policy. And you can't do that. That's why Pakistan ended up having that victory not only on the ground but on the diplomatic front. So that's the way I see it playing out.
I've also read somewhere that France said no to India when they asked for more Rafales. Could you confirm that?
I'm not aware of that. Of course, I will be surprised if France will say that. France will want to sell more Rafales, but at the same time, the when the Pakistanis shut down those fighter jets, those were Rafales, and they really highlighted the weakness of those fighter jets. Let alone the cost of them. So the Chinese sell their fighter jets at a fraction the cost of what the West, collective West, are selling. So no, I am not aware of that, and I can confirm it because I don't know.
There's a very famous Pakistani YouTube channel which covers military events. In its recent video, it is widely rumored that that channel belongs to some guy in the military. So its recent video says that Pakistan and China are looking to open an air base in Bangladesh. Was what you were saying in our previous episode, that Pakistan is eyeing Bangladesh really.
Yeah.
So they brought China in the equation as well. This is according to the YouTube channel. So just putting it there out on the table.
I won't be surprised, and there is nothing wrong for a channel to be funded. I wish somebody will fund my channel. I wish somebody will fund your channel, Ali. There's nothing wrong with that. Where the difference is going to be is as long as the accuracy of the information persists. When somebody start to just stating lies and misinformation, that becomes a problem, because the issue of credibility cannot be, once your credibility is gone, that's it. So, but there's nothing wrong with having a fund. I get sponsors sometimes on my channel that do it's like, Dr. O, can you please do an analysis for us? And I say, sure. But they will never dictate the term to me because I will not allow it. Simple as that. So what he's stating about the base, it's too early for something like that. First of all, China has no desire of opening bases anywhere else because that's not China's policy regarding this. But China will strengthen its military. To Pakistan, it's an opportunity. Bangladesh is a Muslim country. And of course, with the Sheikh Hasina, the corrupted Sheikh Hasina that has been now given sanctuary in India, that tells you the story right there. So the idea is now or never, because the current government in Dhaka, they wanted Sheikh Hasina to be extradited to stand trial, and rightly so. But India is preventing that from happening. That tells you the story right there. So it makes more sense for Pakistan to strengthen these relations with Pakistan, with the Bangladesh, to the point of even establishing some sort of bilateral military cooperation. But as far as in China going into this, no. China might get involved behind the scenes, but not openly. They won't go to that. And this is one of the reasons that brings me back to, if I may just share this with your audience. You remember the recent summit of the SCO, the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, which took place in Tianjin?
Yes.
I was in China, and I argued against these hypes of, oh, Mr. Modi is going to meet one-on-one with President Xi Jinping. That was before the even summit started. And I knew it was just a misinformation because they wanted to give the hypes about how important India is, when in reality it is not. And I argued back then that if China wants to find out about how sincere India is, it needs to do two things. Meaning India, not China. India. It needs to sit down with the Chinese and resolve the border issue once for all. And second thing, it needs to withdraw or remove itself from the Quad. The Quad alliance, which is aimed at encircling China. That's to me the only two yardstick by which I measure the sincerity of India. Of course, India is not going to do that for one reason, which brings us back to Bangladesh. Why? Because if the border issue is resolved, guess what's going to happen? China's going to invest in infrastructure for those countries. Bangladesh, Nepal, Bhutan, Sri Lanka, I don't know. I don't consider Sri Lanka part of that. But those three other countries, Nepal, Bhutan, and Bangladesh, will see a major economic ventures which India does not want. Because India has a major influence inside all three. To a degree in Nepal, because Nepal now is moving independently. But for Bhutan and Bangladesh, India still has an influence from not just economic or energy, it's from an intelligence perspective. The intelligence services of India are wired inside both locations. And I'm aware of that. And that is one of the reasons why India will not resolve the border issue with China, because to avoid having those countries stand on their feet, economically speaking. Now you know why Pakistan is aiming at Bangladesh, and rightly so.